St Paul's Cathedral, for centuries a powerful symbol of the Christian faith in Britain. Recent decades, however, have seen the number of those subscribing to the church plunge dramatically, in stark contrast to those identifying as having no religion at all. But how much do we actually know about this diverse group, whose non-religious beliefs and worldviews are often complex and historically ill-defined? In this programme, we're going to explore the research of the University of Kent's Dr Lois Lee, who's devoted her career to understanding non-religiosity, and how her work has changed the landscape of public policy, religious education, and public understanding of the world's fourth largest belief system. 50% of the British population regard themselves as non-religious, with estimates putting the global figure as high as 750 million people. Atheists, those who don't believe in the existence of God or gods, and others who don't live their lives based on a set of spiritual beliefs, are a growing flock with their own marked characteristics, according to Dr Lee.
We're so used to thinking about worldviews in terms of institutional religions that have those very centralised cultures, and we can point to those key texts, but also pieces of music, art and so on. You know, if I'm working with RE teachers, they know what material they can turn to when they're thinking about Christianity, for example. The non-religious, that's one reason why we think about the non-religious and atheists as not really being, there's nothing there to look at. Actually what's going on, we sort of find in our research is those cultural touchstones are there, but they're much more decentered. So there are beliefs that are shared between people, there are books that are important, there might be individual songs that have some kind of existential meaning, that have those kinds of materialist ideas in them and so on, but they're not so kind of easily pre-packaged or placed in one location that we can go and find them easily. So a lot of our research has been about uncovering those things.
Mapping cultural touchstones has seen Dr Lee's work inform the most significant ruling for this group, when in July 2020, a High Court decision paved the way for legal recognition of humanist weddings in England and Wales. If it does gain full recognition in the eyes of the law, it's estimated 55,000 couples annually will register this status for their wedding.
Lawmakers sometimes want to say, what are those key texts so that you can prove that your humanist beliefs look like religious beliefs? And we've been able through our research to say that's not an appropriate measure for showing the kinds of commitment that people do have to their humanist and other non-religious worldviews. We can't necessarily observe them in the same way that we're used to doing with religious organisations, but our research helps you observe them still and be concrete about that. So that's one of the kind of important ways that we've been able to support some of the campaigning that's been going on by Humanist UK in that case.
Every religious couple in the UK has a choice of marriage. They can either have the civil secular marriage, which is not distinctive of any particular worldview or belief, which everyone has the right to have, or if they're religious, they can have a marriage that respects and incorporates their deepest beliefs and values, conducted by someone who shares those beliefs and values in the place that's most meaningful to them, the place of worship. Now, humanist weddings have been available in the UK for over 100 years to non-religious couples to offer them the same sophisticated, nuanced, rich experience that religious people get out of religious marriage. So a humanist marriage is conducted by a humanist celebrant who works with the couple to understand their beliefs and values, who shares their fundamental view. It's carried out in a location that's meaningful to them in a way that's personalised and entirely bespoke. Humanist marriages in Scotland have been legal now for 15 years, and during that time they've risen in popularity to overtake Christian marriages this year. So this is a thing that people really do want. In England and Wales, the government has resisted making this sort of marriage available to couples, and it really is time that they acknowledge the demand for it, how easy it is to introduce, get out of the way of people's marriage preferences, and bring it into law. Lois Lee's contribution to the increasing recognition of non-religious beliefs in law by means of her contributions to legal cases as an expert witness, providing expert briefings to parliamentarians or to others in public life, has been second to none. It's been extremely important. The external perspective that academic research brings to our existence is priceless in terms of getting people to understand and to recognise the importance of those issues.
there's a set of people who know that they're in some way excluded from those kinds of opportunities, those kinds of conversations, who we've been able to support through providing this kind of evidence-based and understanding it in much more detail. And on the other hand, because these are quite decentralised cultures, lots of people don't even think of their non-religious worldviews as important to them. So another kind of impact our research has had for people in their everyday lives is helping them recognise that, which we didn't set out to show. We just found that it has this meaning, this significance for people in their lives.
While the number of people identifying as non-religious has risen, so too has the level of coverage their worldviews have been given in the media. But this has been littered with challenges.
One concern we have is seeing the mismatch between some of the things that journalists understand to be the case when it comes to the non-religious and atheists and what we find in our research. And the mismatch is totally understandable because even the research is relatively new. It's just not part of our kind of recognised body of knowledge in the same way that our understanding of religion is. So we've been able to contribute to that, kind of picking up where there are stereotypes or just misunderstandings that have been going on, doing what we can to work with that. On the other hand, there are journalists who are really interested and know they're interested, but haven't always known where to turn to, even from the very practical issues of what images do I use in an article that focuses on the non-religious. So a sense that they know this population matters, they know it's big and they know it's meaningful, but it's getting that real detailed understanding. It's helping understand those cultural reference points. It's helping provide pictures for articles and all of that, really.
The new atheists like Dawkins and Hitching did a great service for the world by bringing attention to the fact that there are lots and lots of people who don't believe, and also giving people license to kind of come out of the closet as atheists. But I think the weakness of their position is they didn't really do their homework. They'd never really understood what atheism and non-religion was really all about. And I think that's where Lois and her team have really contributed to the academic debate about really understanding what people who don't believe in God actually believe in and why they believe in that.
Journalist Graham Lawton has been one of those in the media benefiting from Dr Lee's expertise, helping readers navigate the complicated scientific questions surrounding non-religion.
It's one of the things that if we put a God story on the front cover, it will sell well because people are fascinated by it. I think people from all walks of life, religious or not, are interested in religion and non-religion. We get big post bags when we write about this. People will write angrily from all corners of the debate about how we've got something wrong or how we misunderstand religion or non-religion or whatever. We have this expression in journalism, go-to people. They're the people that you absolutely have to talk to if you're going to do a story in that area. And Lois and her team are definitely the go-to people on non-religion.
Dr Lee's research has contributed to expanding the conversation around atheism and non-belief, revising previously narrow stereotypes of this group. This has also led to a wider discussion about education, specifically how best to teach those worldviews in school.
Just the same as with religious worldviews, you've got to break them down. You've got to see, are we talking about beliefs, identity, are we talking about behaviour, and are we aware of the way that those can overlap and overlap with other worldviews? I wouldn't want non-religious worldviews to be taught as if they are a silo, that you can just say, well, we're just going to do the non-religious unit, and it's these beliefs, it's these practices, it's these types of identities. I want people to get away from that simplistic way of looking at these things and to have a more honest engagement in the reality of what worldviews are.
With the help from teaching materials developed by Dr Lee, some 300,000 secondary school students in the UK are now receiving this more diverse understanding of beliefs like atheism and nihilism. Though met with some resistance, especially in faith schools, this reform has generally been met positively by the teaching community.
That need to engage with non-religious worldviews is recognised, but there has been real lack of clarity about what that means. A lot of questions from our reteachers and our re-practitioners about well, if we're including non-religion in the classroom, where does the boundaries lie? Am I looking at communism in the classroom? What counts as a non-religious worldview? And the kind of conceptual work we do as a result of the empirical work we do, but also that kind of very detailed mapping of non-religious worldviews, I think has been really helpful for kind of clarifying some of those issues and kind of articulating and conceptualising what material would be relevant and what wouldn't be, and helping teachers to understand that, because the kinds of changes which I think are really quite great and I think really needed can also seem really daunting, and I think we've been able to help kind of concretise what some of those things mean, and hopefully make it a bit less daunting.
Dr Lee's work goes beyond the classroom and even beyond UK shores. Across 6 countries in 4 continents, she has led the largest global study of non-religious values and beliefs. Historically, places of worship like St Paul's have stood as testaments to the power of religion. But as atheists and the like grow in numbers, their views becoming increasingly commonplace worldwide in policy, the press and the classroom, are these statues of faith fast becoming relics of religion.